And we're now live. Hello, everyone. The subject for today is preparing your tools for astral travel / combat / use. I did not go over this in any depth at all, sort of superficially touched on it by referencing things in the future, and I realized that I've left a lot out. So Joel is going to go over these steps with us, and we're going to talk about preparing the tools of the trade that you may need to use beyond. And also want to say happy birthday. Yesterday was Joel's birthday. He's officially past the age of regret. So, sorry. Notice I didn't mention any ages. We're not going to do that because we know at this point it's just a number.
Right.
In any case, hello, everybody. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Pharaoh wife. Okay, so let's dig into it.
Okay, so I'm not sure what you told them about that. Would you like to go over some of the things that you told them?
Oh, well, quick review is basically
summary.
just working on foci and anchors, which is investing energy in that, which makes it astrally present but not astrally mobile, which is to say that if you invest some of yourself into the tools that you use, they become linked to you because a part of you is in there. But it requires more energy investiture and more pouring of power into it, as well as more focus to make it literally become an extension of yourself, which I said later on down the line we'd cover it, and then of course we went on to about 1,000 other subjects because this is a deep subject, all of the stuff that we're doing. So I beg forgiveness that I did not get back to it when I probably should have. And anchors, of course, are energy sinks that allow you to be able to pour energy into something and make an effect stay in place. These are what we're going to be going over today is similar to that, but it makes it, as you'll see, it goes beyond that. If everybody does remember that, and you've actually listened to the videos recently. But real quick, wanted to add to anybody who follows these podcasts and listens, I have been encountering that some of the people who do the things we have shown have had problems with the circles of protection, because if you have fights, upsets, major drain of energy in your home where you get mentally, physically, emotionally distraught, it's like having Sonic the Hedgehog go into his full spin mode inside of a soap bubble. It's going to pop. So you either have to meditate to get yourself calmed back down before the dome comes down, or you're going to have to make sure that you reinvest energy into the circles, or basically put them back up, because they will come down. At least 3 people I know of have encountered this in the last 60 days, and I should have actually made mention of it beforehand. So remember to watch your circles, especially over your home, because we haven't gotten to the point where off camera or in special lessons we've gone over making a sanctum or a medicine lodge or a more permanent place yet. These are temporary measures that we're extending beyond the temporary state so that you get the experience of putting them in place. So when we make the more powerful, more permanent projections, that you have the experience to be able to do so and then get them out of the way. So remember, emotion, physically distraught, negative people coming into your home and raising Cain can cause your protections to go down. So with that said, off you go, Joel.
Okay, so there's a couple of methods that I tend to use in order to make my tools mobile, able to be used through astral travel and projection. Actually, there's a couple. There's one is pretty intuitive. It's like if I have something like my rune stones, I would, whenever I meditate, I would meditate with those in my hand. That way I can keep imbuing my energy into it, and it basically becomes an extension of who I am. So when I do my meditation for my clearing, and cleansing my aura and refreshing and hardening, crystallizing my aura for protection. I do it with my rune stones, and I envision that energy going around those rune stones. What that does is that basically helps to create that connection. Also, I make a connection with my heart chakra with those tools that I'm going to be using. So when I um, am clearing my heart chakra and strengthen my heart chakra, I will hold that there, and I would envision a thread going from my heart to those tools. Now, the problem with this is once you do that, that's actually a connection. That's actually a link to you. That's a spiritual link to you. So when you do these things, you want to make sure that you put these things in a place where people aren't just going to be like, oh, look at that, and go out and grab and touch them. Because when they do that, they can influence not only those tools, but they can disrupt your energy as well. So if they have any negative energy, or if they have any ill will towards you, that could be transferred through those items into you, which is why you want to make sure that you keep those in a place that only you have access to. You don't want to bring those out, or you don't want to share those necessarily with just anybody. Like Sean, I will allow Sean to touch any one of my tools because I hold him dear to me and I trust him. I know he won't do anything to harm me. Um, so there's that method. And basically, any method that you do is going to make that kind of connection. When I do my Reiki, another way what I do is when I am practicing Reiki, I there's a symbol in the Reiki system called Honshizi Shonin, and it basically means the light in me recognize the light in you. It's the symbol for the heart chakra, and it's basically a gateway, a symbol to open up a gateway between people, and that's how you make connection with people. Uh, I truly believe that's where like hugging comes into place, because when you hug somebody, you're actually touching your heart chakras close to each other. You're making that connection. And so with that symbol, whenever I'm doing whenever I'm doing my Reiki, I'm practicing Reiki on myself, or I'm practicing my symbols, I'll do that over the tools that I want to use whenever I have an astral. I want to go actually project or go someplace astral, if I'm going to do distance healing, um, because it does make that gateway and it does make it accessible to you. I will often, during a Reiki attunement, I don't know, are you guys familiar with Reiki and what a Reiki attunement is?
Only vaguely. It was one of the things that went over expansion of energy and attunements, and you weren't able to be on that one, so we didn't really touch on it too deeply.
Okay, so when you do a Reiki attunement, what you're doing is you're opening up somebody's Kundalini, or pathways, so they can vibrate at a higher rate, so they can channel more energy to bring out more chi to help with the healing process. During these attunements, we're raising your vibrational rate. We're raising your chi system so you can handle a lot of energy. So let's say you see where Sean is now. You some of you guys actually seen it, yes? Anybody?
I don't think they know to answer. Seeing where I am, as in like physically, spiritually,
Your
metaphysically.
aura, your
Ah,
aura.
I don't know if they can still. We've been working on that. I think
But
the only one, I think the
they
one
can
that has
sense
seen,
it.
yeah, I think the one that's seen it the best was Lori, because I know I'd gotten feedback from her. She was the one who was. She said she didn't know where to aim her vision, and then when I told her where to look, she was able to see it. Marvin is working with Demona, and he's able to start. He's been feeling auras better. I don't know. Can Pharaoh wife Sonia, have you been able to see my aura?
No, I still, I still can't see anything yet.
But can you sense it?
No, I don't
No.
know what I'm supposed to be feeling for, you know?
Generally, it's a warm feeling. One of the here. You're. Are you in you're in your house? Obviously, you're not in your kitchen. You're in your bedroom.
Yeah, if you're in here, get out for a second. Let me put a shirt on.
When you see people astrally, you don't see them without clothes. You see them as they think of themselves. So you could be buck naked, and I wouldn't be seeing you naked. I would be seeing you how you think of yourself, usually clothed. So that's something we need to talk about also. As people's like, I don't want you peeping on me if you go through that. No, it's not how it works.
I wanted to ask you that because I was kind of nervous about it. I said, wonder if he can see me when he come over here like that.
You see
I don't want to be flashing you.
You see your ideal self dressed as your ideal self, unless of course you put on armor like I did or generally do, except for that one time which Joel had to fix because a shadow stabbed me. Anyway, yeah. Hold on. If you let me go in there, and I should be able to. I'll be able to get close enough to you. Should be able to feel me. Let me know when you. Well, actually, let Joel know because I'm gonna relax and do this.
So when generally talking about this kind of subject, so first we'll talk about feeling people's energy. So hold on, let me turn my camera on. So let's say if I hold my hand, like some people, like I can feel my other hand this far out. Like for me, it feels like a breeze. And the closer I get, it feels like I can feel like a slight pressure. So, and that's like one of those things, that's usually how you start to see about sensing things. So if you just to take your hand and put together and move it out to the point where you don't feel your hand.
Anytime that you're around anybody, you can tell when somebody have negative energy or positive energy. That's a normal feeling there. That's not
right. But you're working on feeling. You should work on feeling your own energy first. By the way, Aisha, do you have a headache? No, because when I came in there's something in the room. Maybe the top of my head hurt. Wow, there's like negative vibes. It felt like somebody scooped off the top of my head. That was kind of painful. That was weird. It came from outside.
So back to what we were saying. If you take your hand and you start and you see how I'm moving my hand like that, you should be able to feel it. Yeah. And you want to start practicing that for a little bit. But what it is that's like your aura. And depending on how far out, you move your hand, it's like how much aura you can generate.
Wow, your left hand is generating a huge count, man. It's making the camera go fuzzy.
which is funny because I'm dampening I have a tendency just to keep it dampened.
Yeah.
I haven't gone like I keep mine pretty dampened. But it's a simple fact that I'm talking about it. And
Pharaoh wife's husband's got a headache. Okay, that explains that. That really hurt. It's like we're talking like near migraine. It's like somebody hit him in the sinuses. It's like goes from his nose all the way to almost the back of his head. That hurt.
Yeah. His face is swollen right here. He has an abscess.
Oh,
it's going all upside his head.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that's bad. dude, that was really bad.
Yeah.
It was like me walking into a room, ducked down, and then standing up and hitting the ceiling. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry about that. Yeah, like Joel was saying, you practice between your hands. You first work on feeling your own aura, and then you work on stretching your own energy between your hands as well is the next step. But the first step is to feel your own energy first. When I was in there, I was feeling all around your aura, Pharaoh wife, and there was you didn't sense me unless you felt the warmth. You didn't feel it, did you? No,
she was
have to
also
work on that.
distracted. She was also distracted though.
Okay, well, let me do it again.
I figured out what it was, had a headache. So I went to the door to ask him, did he have a headache? And he said, yeah, it's hurting all up in here. He said, could you see my face is swollen? I got this abscess, and his teeth hurt. He has a toothache, and it's giving him a headache.
Yeah, it was from. He's probably feeling it all through his sinuses, like the front of his face, up the top of his head, because it was, like I said, it felt like I stood up under a low ceiling and hit the top of my head, like bam. You know, like when you don't know how tall a small room is, and you stood up too quickly when you were a kid. Okay, so I'll do it again so you can see if you can feel it.
You didn't touch me, did you?
Nope, just my aura. That's the only part of you that will get touched by me, is my aura touching yours. Where did you feel it?
In my belly. I felt it in my belly.
Okay, well, that would be as a side effect of where I was actually affecting you. Your shoulders, neck, and head. Trying to give you energy, since you're dealing with those.
Yeah, it's burning up.
Yeah.
My whole face is burning up now.
Yeah.
I feel heat in my face.
I try to keep it down to a low level because where Joel's natural gifts are in one direction, mine are in energy transfer. I've never had a problem with energy, being able to move energy fast and extreme. Do you remember that stone in front of your one friend's house that you powered up, Joel? Do you remember that one? You said, come and stand here, and I'm like, woo, that's neat.
Yeah, I've done that to a lot of different ones.
So yeah, so that's what he's talking about when he's talking about feeling energy when you feel someone's aura. Now, I was doing that modestly and on purpose, but you need to get used to feeling when people don't want to be felt, when you basically reaching out with your own senses to feel them from across a distance. I can feel Joel even across the country. Sonia's actually at the upward limit of my ability to reach, because it's all the way on the backside of the planet. I'm not used to reaching that far without a focus to reach through. And so, like when she was having troubles, it was not easy for me to reach around to actually help her. I think Joel had an easier time than I did. But,
yeah.
Did you just grab my head on this side here?
No, you're going to be feeling all of the energy that I washed you with for quite a while. It was all over your head and your shoulders, down your arms, around your neck and your throat. I did that a lot because that area on you seemed like it was really tense.
Okay.
So I'm sharing as much energy as I can with people when I have a moment.
Yeah. So where were we? We were talking about
feeling your aura.
Feeling your aura, but before that was kind of like a side note. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Sean. So my guys just directed me into the right direction there for that one too. So as far out, like Sonia, it's okay. I will be asking you guys to interact a lot that's how I am as a person. It's that way I can gauge um, how much information, how if you guys are getting the information I'm trying to disseminate. Cat move. So my cat wants to be. Hold on, let me turn this on so you can see what I'm dealing with. My cat wants to be a part of this too. She hasn't seen me in a few days, and now she's like wants to be a part of everything. So so with that, what ends up happening is so say a normal person might have an aura of like 1 or 2 inches, right?
Wait, explain 1 or 2 inches.
1 or 2 inches projecting away from their body.
Right.
Like you could usually feel their aura. That's used like the range. So when I'm talking about like a range. So a person who might not have any talent or not used to um, doing any chi work might have an aura of like 2 inches. That's like their range. That's pretty low. That's like really low. A person who really doesn't have any kind of abilities. Somebody like us would probably have one before we start working about 6 inches, half a foot, maybe a foot. After doing an attunement, a person aura could easily like can goes about 10 times as far. So if you have like a 6 inch aura, uh, you can easily get out there about 4 or 5 feet. Like things in that range can start to feel that energy, and people will start to be drawn near you that are more aligned with how you operate and where you are as a person. So with these attunements, um, what I usually do is I usually ask if a person want to have one of their tools with them. So when I'm passing their attunements, they can hold it, and then I can help attune that tool with their aura. Uh, Especially when we get to the point where I'm opening up the heart chakra and getting that ready for a high vibrational rate. Does that make sense?
Of course. But one thing you also want to tell people is when somebody's doing work, if you're looking for their aura to start 2 inches from their body, you're going to probably be surprised that you can't see the edges of it there, which is what happened with Lori when she's looking too close to me. And even on a normal day, I'm usually at 7, 10 to sometimes 2 feet, depending on what I'm thinking about, because I rely on the tools to keep me dampened rather than my own actions, because I never learned to do it that way like you do, which is keep yourself pushed way down.
Yeah, that was through meditation. That's a whole different thing. Uh, so do you understand that, Sonia?
Yeah.
Okay, she lives. I'm gonna prop my phone on my cat just because she's here. She wants to be a part of it. So, um, oh, cat.
She's like, I want to be a part of it, but I want to be in front.
So, but
I have so rarely encountered people who are cat shamans, and when they are and they start acting so, like cats like that, and they're like, no, I'm going to be in front of the camera, and you're like, oh yeah, I know what your spirit animal is. I know what your spirit animal is. Like, oh yeah, pet me, see me, love me, watch me.
Yeah, this one is too much. So there's that method that I usually like, and I try to incorporate that all the time when I'm teaching Reiki to somebody. It's a good method. It's real quick. It's real easy. I kind of tell them that they'll be able to use that item in distant healing. I ask them what item they want to use for distant healing, and um, and I tell them to bring it along with them. Another method, one that I really like to use, is I will get my blessing your items. When you bless your items, and that makes them spiritually mobile. It doesn't necessarily give you that link um, like some of these other methods do. But if you've worked with it and you've attuned that item with your energy, then you shouldn't have to worry about having that link, and you can call upon it at any point. Um, with just getting it blessed, you kind of have to have the item with you when you get ready to do your work. You have to have it like on your person before you travel. So I don't necessarily like to do that because that becomes a distraction. The extra stimuli, the weight of the items around me or on me, kind of keeps me grounded in the physical realm. So I don't particularly care to do it that way. However, it is a method that works. If you go to sweat lodges, uh, you should, if you ever go to a sweat lodge, if you ever get an invitation to go to a sweat lodge, take I would take that invitation. I would go to it. It's definitely something to be experienced. Um, and one of the things that they would do is they would take your items and put it at the altar so it can be blessed. And the altar is usually someplace between the fire pit and the opening of the sweat lodge. And that is another very powerful method that I've that I've actually used. And the thing about that is this one is a lot better for tools that you're not going to use for like spiritual healing or healing. These are tools. This could be very used for like weapons, uh, because if you have a blessed weapon, that will be present in the non-physical realm, so you can use it better for spiritual combat. So like in the case of what happened with us where we had to go clear those areas out, a blessed knife would have been very useful to have. I mean, I have several in my house. I have the one, I think you gave me one
Yeah, that was the bone handled one that was made by the natives with the nice
with
brass
the
blade.
scrimshaw.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
nice.
I've had that blessed several times. I don't. It's funny because I didn't have it with me at the time. I didn't call upon it because I didn't think it was something I was going to necessarily need. Um, just because I was looking at other methods where we might be able to take care of it than having to put that much into it. It doesn't take a lot out of me, but I would have to clear that energy out because when you go into spiritual combat, you have that aggressive energy going into it. And so if you're trying to clear out a place, then you have to kind of clear out that aggressive energy that you put in and replace it with something not as aggressive. You have to clear it and balance it out, so to say.
Farrah Wife asked, does every state have a sweat lodge? I would imagine any place where you have Native Americans, they should have ones that follow that tradition.
It depends on the tradition of the natives in your area. Uh, Plains Indians usually have sweat lodges. Areas where, like in here in California, uh, they adopted some of the sweat lodges tradition just because of that. Oh, very nice.
Oh, it's a seal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. I was just watching a silly movie today where they talked about, and this is funny. I don't want to give any free press to it, but it's a movie where they talk, oh, we need to do the Key of Solomon. I'm like, the Key of Solomon's a book, you fool. And then they proceed to do a partial seal of Solomon. And no, I'm serious. It's like, I hate being the educated one in the room, man. I'm saying, nope, that's a seal right there, and he didn't even finish it. You have to have the Mercury symbol in the middle and Saturn on the right, blah, 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 yeah. So it's like not done. So
Yeah.
And it was funny. They had a priest doing it. It's like, priest doing this? Really? That one blew my mind. And he says, oh, I spoke to somebody who is a specialist in this. Like, then why didn't they bring the specialist? Yeah.
Exactly. So this is a new acquisition for me.
Cool.
Crystal pendulum. I've needed one for quite a bit, and I finally came up and found one. I got it the same day I got the my
singing bowl.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the little phantom pieces in there,
Yeah.
which would be good for dowsing and scrying.
Yeah, you and Demona are geomancers. I think almost everybody in the group, except for Pharaoh Wife, it works better with minerals, and we work better with intact the artifact stuff, seals, etc.
We'll get to that later.
Isn't that one? But it's a weird thing. See, and here's another thing I found out. With ever since speaking with Airmid, I've now become more in tune with plants. Like outside, I've actually brought back herbs that Karen let die 3 times, and we've got this sage plant that now the sage is growing out there, and the effect is all over the place. The effect of just the sage, like when people will burn sage, for me, I don't have to burn the sage. I'm just growing it, and the effect has taken over the whole house.
Yeah.
So. Because for me, it's herb lore. I never thought I'd ever be growing this stuff. It's really funny. Parsley, chives, holy basil, oregano, it all grows like crazy. Dill, right? Whatever I touch that's an herb just goes like hog wild. It dies, I water it a little bit, comes right back. And I mean fully dead, we're talking crispy, and it just comes right back.
Good, because I have a couple of plants that need some attention. So that's another method. I really like getting my stuff blessed. It really makes it feel nice. It feels good. It's a form of cleansing and imbuing it with a creative energy that is a positive energy, and I definitely recommend doing that. And I wouldn't just say use just one method. I would say use multiple. And the one thing that I have to impress the most is when you're doing your meditations, when you're trying to figure out what you need for a tool and you meditate on that tool, once you find that tool, you take it, because you might meditate, or you might be out there, you might feel a tool might call you, you might pick it up, and then you don't know what to do with it. Just know that this is a tool that you're supposed to use for your spiritual works. Meditate with that tool, keep meditating with it until it speaks to you and it lets you know what its function is. With crystals and stones, you'll definitely do that. With wood and stuff, with wood and plants, those things, each wood and plant has a specific vibration that it's supposed to be used for. And even a lot of crystals do, like quartz is one that you can program for whatever you want to do.
Oh yeah, and even I can do that, even though I'm not a geomancer. I have a chunk of quartz crystal I was given so that it's yellow quartz, in order to be able to protect my electronic devices so that I don't screw them up.
Yeah.
So that became a focus for me. So I wouldn't destroy my iPhone, my iMac, or any of that crap. So it's always right where it needs to be.
So and sorry. So you want to do that, and not only when you get that image of what you're supposed to do with it, you need to meditate with it to see how you're supposed to prepare it. And I think a lot of people skip that step. You know, for somebody like me and Feral Wife, um, like I keep my stuff on me at times. When I go out, if I know I'm going out into nature, I'll take certain things with me. And then as I'm out in nature, if if something speaks to me, like for instance, like a stream, I'm like walking by and there's a stream and it's like here. And then I get there and then I look through my bag and then whatever is compelled for me to take out into the stream with me, I will. Because that right there is how it wants to be cleansed and how it wants to be prepared. And that's how you would prepare it. Um, so there's a lot of intuitiveness as well as formulas, and you should be able to incorporate both. And I think Sean is a
Formulas.
little bit more formulaic, and it's kind of hard for him to let go and have that intuition. But his
Oh, not on
guide,
everything. Not on everything. In fact, with
no,
the plant,
I
no, but
didn't.
with the plants thing, that even
Mm,
years ago, before Airmid started talking to me, I actually started doing stuff like that with the garden and with the strawberries and stuff like that for some reason. Even before I got in tune with that, for some of those things, intuition for me is normal, but for some of the work, intuition is not normal at all. Not even, I mean, a little bit.
and I was gonna say, like, not all the time, but some things that you're not familiar with is harder for you. So the things that's not aligned with you. And I've noticed that I was gonna say, I've noticed that that's been a place of growth for you. And your guys um, are helping, like, the guys are in tune with your intuition. And that's why the guys help you, because when you can't get in touch with that part of you, that intuition part of you, your guys will help direct you towards that.
And a quick interjection here: the intuition parts of me that were, because it was kind of tamped down and driven off out of fear. Uh, Joel was able to bring those back, and they manifest themselves as partial totems. For me, they're
My
not
God, that
actually
was
full totems. They will speak to me through intuition and guide without actually talking, which is for me not normal. And Aramid also, which in thinking about it, the reason why Aramid wanted you and I to be, buddies, is so that you could get that intuition side of me revived, so she could finally talk to me. I think part of the trauma that I went through shut that area down in my head because of survival instinct. Nothing like that kind of stuff to shut off part of your brain.
yeah.
Joel, Sonia has a question for you.
I'm all ears.
What would be the best for me? Because obviously we wouldn't have sweat lodges in the UK, or not many, often, not a lot of them.
Okay, so what I would suggest, and you'd be surprised, you would actually be surprised if you looked into it. I would say, especially for somebody who is born across the pond, I would look into your indigenous culture.
Ancestry?
For like you, maybe it's the way of the weird, maybe it's a druid. Um,
Like myself.
it because those are a lot of they have the same qualities, nature spirits and stuff like that. So that's where I would guide you to go towards. Even if you could have, if you know a priest or somebody, uh, a priestess, they could holy water, they could bless it. If you're more in line with the um, Nordic, I would say like a rune master, some sort of medicine person. Find a medicine person, find something like that, and they can direct you towards an equivalent to a sweat lodge. I would imagine for you like a circle like Stonehenge.
Okay.
That's kind of a hell of a distance, even for her, even though she's on the West Coast near there.
But
I mean, it's really a
but
distance.
well, yeah, but I'm sure there's other circles like that
Oh,
around.
hell yeah. Actually, near where she lives, there's, yeah, she had me do a Google trip through her town, and it's still fresh in my head. Yeah, that's,
I I
there's a
could
lot of ruins around there.
like in just I can sense probably I can probably sense it feels like there's about 20 in her general area, like in a 10-mile radius.
Yeah, the place where she lives, it was massively active. It's there. The whole area was Druid heaven, going all the way down to Wales. I mean, she's not that far away from Wales as the crow flies.
Hmm.
Okay, cheers.
So I mean, and that's just a rough sense, and that's just kind of like sending like away from you out and coming back. So I don't have a real good idea, but just from like let's call it the sonar effect I just sent out.
That's
There's
actually
quite a
something
bit.
that's something that I was talking with Lori about, was that sonar effect when you're looking for something and you send the ping out and it goes out from you in a circle. You learn how to do that based around other people when you're searching for something. Yeah. Right
Yeah,
after I went and told Lori about it, you're discussing it on the camera. That's
which
the
which is
metaphysical
funny,
search.
because I don't think you and I have ever discussed doing that. Like I've never talked about doing that with somebody at all, ever,
Well,
ever. It's something that I
you
intuitively do.
you discussed that with me from a book when it was in Idaho one time, just the one
Oh, did
time.
I really?
Yeah, just the one time, and that was because of a dream that I had when I was there. Uh, we'll talk about it off camera, but I'll remind you of it. But you told me about it. I read the passage in the two of those shamanism books that you had, and I kept trying it out. And this is when the Wendigo was doing his little number in the Cascade Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that was pretty bad. Yeah, and so it was like I was being constantly distracted. But the the around her, if she can find one of the old stone rings, because there's got to be at least, I don't know how far away she'll have to get from town, but there's bunches of them, and a lot of the
Not to mention
castle.
there's a buttload of fairy circles over there.
Yeah, and there's a castle that's near where she lives, and the castle is made of stones that used to be from the rings. So
Nah.
yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that that castle is like a freaking nightmare, I'd say that could be a good place to go. But I look at it on Google, the Google pictures, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going there ever.
Well, that
Yeah.
castle used to be a prison, so
That's why. And they put people in there to die, especially witches. It's like, we're going to kill you. Yeah. Sonia had an
No.
episode in there. It's like, no, we're not going near that.
I imagine there's a place in there that's really, really powerful and really, really like cleansing, but traveling to it would not be I would not, no. See, I
Just,
can't even formulate words to say how much I would not do it.
it's called Full of Nope.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me pull out my pocket full of fuck yous on that one.
It's like, you do not need to put yourself in the presence of that kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, you don't need to. Not at all.
I understand that some people, they think of strength as being exposed to injury or damage, etc. Like in the old idea of meditating under a waterfall. That's great, but being under a metaphysical tornado is not the same as being under a physical waterfall while meditating. It doesn't generally translate, especially if you can see some of the things that we see when you're looking at these different objects and you're seeing the background count and the flow of the auras. Even on a crappy little Google picture, it can be sometimes stunning. And some of the things that are captured in an area on that film is oftentimes very off-putting, kind of scary. Like around Pharaoh Wife's old home, that was one of the only ones that Hurricane Katrina did not plow to pieces. Right, it literally was. It was protected by spirits that were in that area. And I looked at her old home and I'm like, oh my gosh, all of these tortured spirits and souls that haven't moved on, still walking around trying to keep the area safe for their progeny. It's rather sad, but it's also scary. I wouldn't want to be there in their presence because it would be overwhelming. Like when I went to La Purísima mission, I wasn't expecting anything there. Oh, I don't know why I wasn't expecting anything there. Lots of tortured Chumash people. Ooh.
Yeah, the one thing that I have to say about that kind of place, that journey is more for like a spiritual warrior. That's like somebody who's gonna be your swordsman, the person that's gonna keep you safe as you're doing your works.
Yeah, and
That's
something I
what
wanted
those
to.
places are for.
That's something I want to touch on for people to understand. There are mediums and people who go and heal things and will work on things and will fix things, and then there are people who are the magi, the warriors, the ones who actually are your bodyguard for the people who do this kind of thing, for the people who are the mediums, because the medium has to go in basically naked. They can't put up any defenses or shields or anything, because they have to sense everything. And then there's someone like myself who ended up being crafted as a weapon through adversity. It's not something I wanted to be, it's something that I became. And that's what I learned to do. Joel as well. We're not the average. We don't literally go in and go, oh, I can sense what this. Yeah, we can do some of that stuff. But that's not what we first started with ages ago.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I always encourage other people to come in, because we're not like Amy Allen or the lady who does the New York medium, who goes into different people's homes like Rowdy Piper and tells you about stuff. Though I can tell you about the environment and ghosts that have been there and spirits and the echoes of information stored in the area, and I can tell you that what the aura of the place has said, or memories trapped in it. I can do all of that, but I cannot talk to a spirit and get it to move on. We're a little more Ghostbuster-ish than that.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't want to go? Okay. Pony up.
Gone.
We're not going to let you stay, because if you're dangerous, we don't go, hey, come home with us and we'll convince you to move on. We don't do that.
Not my type.
We've never done that. So when people ask us for help, it's do you need help? Yes. Does it have to be now? Or would you rather convince this poor soul to move on? If it's a poor soul, to move on. If it's something that's not a poor soul, if it's darker, that's when you call it. That's when we move it on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's moving on.
Yeah, it's time. In the past 5 weeks, I think we've had three separate occasions where that came into play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think three for me. One of them I did on my own. So.
Yeah. So, but I think that's all I really have as far as that goes. It's definitely one of those things. Oh no, runes. Thank you. The Nordic runes. You can actually etch runes on it, which, if you meditate on what your sigil should look like, or what your sigil should be, or what your rune is, and you're shown a symbol, a sigil, or a rune, if you were to etch that on any items, either physically or spiritually, that item will be available for you wherever you go. I don't know why I didn't think about it. That's the whole reason why.
Well, because that one's a bit more formulaic. That one's more I was going to mention that and a couple of other things too.
Well, you do realize I've made my own rune system. You remember I told you about that?
Yeah, and I remember I got you on Pinterest. I'm waiting for the everybody else to do that too, so that they can look at your rune system.
Yeah, I haven't put that on the rune system. I haven't put that rune system on there, but I think I'm gonna start taking some pictures of it and Instagram and start putting some on Pinterest once I start getting back into it. I go through those of you who don't know me that well, I go through time periods where I'm active in certain things. I do certain things at certain times. I go through these cycles. So like right about now, I'm feeling like I'm having the urge to tie knots during the summertime, like fall, winter. I do a lot of knot tying. It feels um, like in summer, I don't really do much of anything. I kind of bask, which is that's the easiest way to say. That's why I kind of lay like really low. I don't do a lot of anything. That's like when I pretty much kind of hibernate in summertime, so to say. Um, Spring is when I kind of have a tendency to explore more. I'm out and about more, and I want to see what's going on in my area. And animals, animals seem to talk to me a little bit more during that time, which is not strange, but whenever I have a tendency to do more craft work during this time of year and in the winter. So um, I'll probably start doing some more of my rooms and stuff like that. I'll probably start making some here pretty soon.
So the stuff that I would add for being able to move to make tools more readily available is not only keeping them with you, keeping them on you, keeping them near you constantly, but also thinking on them near constantly, keeping them in your mind, learning to be able to keep them present in the back of your consciousness on a regular basis. That sets them up, especially if it's something you've never done before, to become basically an extension of yourself. This is before going as far as setting up a sanctum so that they're always available without being on your person.
That's
So,
can I add that's part of meditating with it a lot. That's why you meditated with that item, so you have it, you can feel it, you can look at it. I mean,
right, but this is
if you want to taste it, hell, do that too. That way you have that attunement. So when you close your eyes and you think about it, you can see it and it's there.
but this is working it so that it becomes a part of the unconscious, making sure that it stays there. Like if I was to tell you today, like just a practice is to think about a flower, your favorite kind of flower, and I want you to think about that flower and keep it in your mind and imagine every bit of it, like the rose from Beauty and the Beast. I want you to be able to think about it, envision every petal, every corner, every facet, the green beneath, the stem, the leaves that are still on it. Keep that in your head. Imagine it till it's to its fullest extent. Now, I want you to keep that in the back of your head all day for the next 7 days. And I don't want you to be thinking about it hard. You want to be able to do all these other things, but still be conscious of the fact that it's part of what you're thinking about. And that will be part of you even when you go to sleep and you wake up, and it's still there as part of your superconscious. And that's part of the formulaic attunement. So that even when you're not touching it, even when you're not thinking about it, even when you're not meditating on it, it's still somewhere in the back of your mind. And eventually you let go of doing that, but it's still there. Because you've held it there for so long, pardon me, it's still part of your superconscious. And I do that for all of my tools. And then, of course, one step beyond that, that's not going to be something we go on today, but that's the first step. And then also, if it is a particular tool with a particular elemental alignment, then you are going to want to align that with a particular chakra, fire, water, air, earth, etc. Those need to be aligned with particular chakras, such as like if it's a knife, sword, or whatever, it's with the brow chakra or the throat. Or if it is something staff, fire, then it's with the heart. If it's disc, earth, shield, etc., with the Kundalini, the base of the path, the beginning of the serpent's walk, that kind of thing. Those you align with those particular chakras and then tie them as Joel was talking about. That's for those who this calls to. Remember, this is not an only, this is an also or an if you need to. And let's see what else. Once you feel your own energy and you're able to pass it back and forth, and you can feel your own aura in your hands, etc., being able to then move that into the object itself and wash it with your own energy is what I generally do, until eventually it becomes sort of a sponge, and it seeks to soak up the energy of you because it is a part of you. And once it's gotten to a level where it has drunk in enough of you that it simply it is maintained just as your own health and your own breathing is maintained, and it becomes a natural in and outflow of you. And those are the first steps on actually artifact production. But that's how I learned to be able to make things astrally present without being personally and physically present. So, I actually learned that from one of the books that my mom brought home, one of the books you gave me, Joel, and stuff that I was taught by Mr. Rogers. So, and I don't mean Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, from Mr. Rogers, the stuff that he was teaching us when we were when we were younger, when I was 10. And I found that that worked suitably well. It was really something, because I was already prepared. I had already done all that stuff by the time I was 15, 16, when the books came into my lap. It's like, here it is. Let's do all this.
Yeah.
You know, to this day, I still ask my mom, I said, why did you bring me all those books? She says, oh, they were all bloody novels. It's like, yeah, they're totally not novels. It's like a stack as tall as my not my shin, my knee. And she thought they were all novels. Anyway, does anybody have any other questions?
They're so chatty.
We're used to having more people here than more questions come. Sonia looks like she's got one. She unmuted herself at least. No, nothing from Sonia?
I'm just wondering, I haven't really found out I'm really gifted with, like you saying with plants, I can't grow anything, I just kill them.
Are you good with stones? Do stones call out to you? See, not everybody has multiple gifts like that. I've found that usually speaking, people are adepts. They'll have one thing they do really well, and that's where their focus is, and that's pretty much all they do, where they're able to learn a particular type of thing in the metaphysical, and they do it phenomenally well, better than most other people. Joel and I are atypical, like Damona's atypical, where you've got 3-4 things we're able to do. One core thing that's like dances out and bedazzles us, and we do it really well. And then we have the other things that sort of bolster it. And then as time goes by, also things get unlocked that we didn't realize were behind locks and doors, that negative things and negative input and negative people have sealed away. Like, if the thing when I was 5 hadn't done what it had done to me, I would have been much more intuitive. Joel has ever and always been working on the intuitive side of me, almost like a carpenter trying to pull up some really shittily done boards. It's like, God damn, look at this fucking roof. I'm going to have to redo this whole thing. And he's working on the other side, pulling up these boards that are laid so ugly with 2x4s over the outside and no venting. It's like, God damn, this is ugly. Meanwhile, I'm trying to get Joel to understand my side of things, which is like, look, but you got the formula of this, and it works in this beautiful pattern, and here's the metaphysical math behind it, and you know, his eyes go glazed over, just like mine with the stones. But it's the way we work. And so far, we've actually, from our starting point, we couldn't have been further away, but we've been working in the same channels for so long. Now it's instinctive. Like when we were dealing with that stuff in that house, was it in August? And Joel said, "Here, take my hand." And Damona was watching, and even though Joel and I were in opposite rooms, by doing the taking my hand, we were together. And it's like, well, how did you guys know to do that? We've been working together so long, it's just naturally works. There's just no way to say. Once you get to a point where everything works on the instinctive as well as the intuitive, as well as yeah, of course it'll work, and your mind actually does all of the metaphysical math. That's where we are right now, and it's a little different from some people. There's, oh my God, 30 years worth of doing this. It is.
I think cooking has helped me with the whole formulaic portion.
For me, the instinctive growing was not only speaking with you, but also talking about the stuff, not being anxious, Buddhism, and starting my own farm, doing my own organic garden.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing that you also have to keep in mind, is that everything is the metaphysical. Everything extends beyond itself into the realm of the invisible. So things that you learn in the world will grow into the metaphysical and give you pathways to learning that you did not have before. So that's something to keep in mind. If you're not good at growing something, try growing something else. If you're not good at growing anything, try exposing yourself to hiking, to meditation, to exploring. One of the things that I found was really a very powerful draw for me when I was a kid, and I mean way back, this was just, I wanted to see what was over the next hill, what was around the next corner, what was under this, what was hidden behind that. And I would go and I would explore, and I would feel, and I would sense and feel not only the wind around me, but the life in the breeze, the energy in the wind, the grass, the smells, the sensation of energy from the earth all around me. Every exposure to any energy is that much more knowledge and experience that you have, and it translate into everything you do eventually. Eventually it leads up to those aha moments where you're going, I get it now, I got it. This led to this, led to this, led to this, and through this strange domino effect to now I got it, and now I can do this that I never could do before.
Yep, that's about it.
And I think your formula, making the mead thing after you'd had my mead, that was like, yeah, I'm going to try that. That was that was your foray into, it's like, I could do this. Alchemy.
Yeah, that's when part of my figuring it out. Yeah.
Have you guys ever met anybody that you were able to actually help them get their gift totally back, where they're capable of seeing what you guys see?
I've never met anybody who had a gift, who knew they had a gift and lost it, but I have been able to open up people's gifts. I think there was one time yeah, and that was even before I started doing Reiki.
Okay.
And after I started doing Reiki, somebody said that they wanted to be able to see things like how I used to be able to see things, or how I see things. And so I did this symbol into his third eye, and they was like, you remember when I said I wanted you to do that? I was like, yeah. He was like, I was wrong.
Yeah, that's something that
too late.
That's something
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yeah, that's something that people don't seem to understand, is what we can see. Well, what I could see, what I can see more clearly now, and they go, well, I wish I could see that sort of thing. And my first response is usually to give a very nervous, shaking of my head. No, you really don't. You really don't. Because until you actually have to live with it 24/7, and you go out into the world like a babe, and you don't realize that you are now walking basically face first into a fan that's spinning really quickly. You don't know, and you don't know what you're in for. And then when you can't shut it off, it really can freak a person out. And as even experienced people who are still trying, there are some mediums that want to be able to see ghosts and spirits and such in the same fashion that we do. And I have to say, if you're not there, trust the people who are on the other traumatic side of this. It's not all it's cracked up to be. You can't choose when you don't want to see. The only thing you can do is put yourself in a bubble, or keep your head down, or focus, or meditate on something else, or like we used to do in the old days, pull out the NES and keep our head down and play Legend of Zelda.
Yeah. I have to recant that statement. My one Reiki student that I have here in this area, as a child, she said she had farsight. That's what I like to call it. I call it farsight, seeing beyond the veil. And she used to see all these things. And she says she kind of wishes she had it. And I asked her a few times if she really wanted that. And she said yes. And so I did the same symbol over her third eye. And for the first couple of weeks, it disturbed her. The first month or so, she was telling me about it. But then afterwards, now that she's seen it, she doesn't feel bad about it. She realizes that there's good and bad ones out there. And she lives out, she used to live out by some orchards. And not long after I took her in as a student, she left her husband. I have to say this. Hate to say this, but she was able to move out of a situation that she really wasn't happy in, and give herself that freedom to be on her own and to experience life the way she wants to be, without having to feel held back by another person's negative energy. Which is kind of weird, because we haven't really had a chance to talk, because I no longer work with her. I no longer see her that often. And she's actually down in Hollywood, I think, right now. When she comes back, I'm going to have to talk to her about that, because that's something I didn't, like, it hasn't come up, like, through the constant Reiki work that I've done with her, and then giving her the gift of the attunements. That change came about pretty quickly.
That's a thing. I think for Fairwife, we might want to, or you might want to consider seeing if you could unlock her abilities to see like she did when she was younger, and heal her there in that regard, because that would help her with her particular situation. So although I do want to admonish you in this regard, Fairwife, keep in mind that once you can see the guy, it will be like, if he can get in there, like a stranger in a great cloak walking into your shower, how would you freak out about that? Think about that. Okay. Would it be better to just sense him coming, or would it be better to see him? Because having somebody suddenly walk in on you while you're in the shower that you don't know, what would that do to you? Just putting it out there, because the number of times that stuff like that happen when I'm in strange places, not in the shower personally, but I'm saying like walking around someplace, or I forgot my pendant, and things just suddenly start noticing that I'm around, and they start sniffing the air, because there's like, yeah, somebody's around that can act, there's light coming, and I'm not hidden, and they all they're attracted like moths to the glow.
Yeah, And then
and it
there's
can
me. I
be
just,
very
Okay,
scary.
I just blow it off.
is there a way for them not to know that you can actually see them?
Yes, that usually for me, I actually put all. No, I put all of my energy for keeping hidden into my pendant for protection. And so when I wear it, I'm constantly feeding it energy that keeps my aura hidden. So they can't usually see me so well. If I take it off, I'm broadcasting. And so they'll be drawn to me. So the pendant that you're wearing can be set to be able to interfere with their ability to perceive you. It doesn't turn your aura off. It just makes it so that they're not able to see it. And Joel and I were discussing other means as well, including imbuing the insides of clothing so that it keeps your aura reflected back at yourself, especially in wintertime, and keeps your energy within yourself so that it lasts longer and keeps them from being able to see you as another method, which I'm interested to give a try.
And if you imagine putting on a cloak with mirrors, that helps for some. Or if, like for me, martial arts helped me with slowing my breathing down and being able to center myself and not get anxious. So like if you can live in a moment, like when you talk about like Zen stuff, if you can live at that moment where outside stimuli has like no real effect, that you just notice like your breathing and what you are, even if you see something and it's surprising, you can kind of keep that emotion down, kind of like evoking. I guess that's the best way to explain it, where you take it as logic. Okay, so you already know that this is there. You know that these things can happen. So if you know there's a possibility of this person coming in when you're in the shower, and he comes in, it's not like a surprise. And you just go about your business unfazed. They won't, that emotion will not project through your aura. And if you can just kind of acknowledge it and just let it pass through, like just let it go. When you do that, it won't see that, okay, he's noticing me. It just thinks that you're not noticing them. I do that a lot. I'll feel things around and I'll just keep going
Yeah, me too.
as if it's not there. But I'm taking all the information I can and thinking like what I might do if this whole encounter becomes sour. So they still feel like that I'm not aware of them. And then all of a sudden, when I turn around and I yank them, they're like, "Oh shit, he was paying attention." And it's one of those things, and that takes a lot. That takes a lot of training. But if you can't get to that point, if it's something that you need more immediate, I would definitely say clothing, envisioning, putting on a cloak with mirrors.
And
That
also the
helps.
pendant focus for protection.
Pendant focus, definitely.
And also
definitely.
tell people who you're with if they not to break your focus. That's how I got messed up in La Purísima, is because a friend of mine was trying to do what my aunt used to do, which was to treat me like I was a freaking Geiger counter for ghosts. And I'm trying to tell them, I know they're here. Please don't break my focus because I'm trying to keep them from seeing, and there's a lot of it, et cetera, et cetera. And then they did crap to break my focus, which really scared me stupid, and ensued like 15 minutes worth of panic before I could actually make myself not so readily visible. Because in a lot of cases, if you lose control, your energy goes out into the environment, especially if you are freaked, and a lot of your light goes out, and it will start activating stored memories in the environment. And if you're in the presence of a massacre, of a previous massacre, which is why I don't go near the Trail of Tears. Oh God, please let me never go near that. It'll start activating old visions, and you may start picking up stuff you don't want to see. And in my case, it was a mass shooting at La Purísima by soldiers who were slaughtering the people who live there. So yeah, it's also letting them know that they need to heed you. Listen when you say don't go something. You tell them don't go over here, and don't break my concentration. Don't shock me. Don't, just please let me stay focused. We have to maintain that calm state.
Okay. When you're able to see them, do they look different from people who are alive, so you know that they are not actually alive?
I found that actually depends on how they see themselves. Do you remember I was saying that astrally, you'll, even if you're buck naked, I'll see you as how you envision yourself, which is usually clothed. It depends the same thing on them, how they envision themselves. If they're like children, oftentimes they'll see themselves as still alive. In some cases, some ghosts always think of themselves as they were in their death state, as they were dying. So you'll see them in a horrid or wretched state. Some have moved on to a point where they are so weak and they've lost so much of themselves, they've begun combining themselves with other dead spirits, and so they become a horrible amalgam of previous lives to try and keep themselves still focused, still present on this earthly plane, and that can be frightening. So there's no way to say that they'll always look a particular way, or you'll usually know. The only way is through getting used to feeling their energy, and then you'll get the sense from them that they're not really there, or that they're a spirit, or that it's like with Jemima in your case. For Jemima, she was keeping herself hidden, but I knew she had to be there through other clues. And when she appears to me, she looks like anybody else. She literally looks like any other person. You wouldn't be able to tell she wasn't every other person except by the way she dresses.
And let me add, it depends on the person. The way I see things is not the same way Sean sees things. When I see it, it's like a mental overlay of what I'm actually physically seeing.
I get that sometimes as well.
I would see it, but it's definitely not like, I know it's there, and it's almost like if I'm looking at it through a double exposure film in my mind. I can see him there. I know he's there. But I know he's not in the same plane that I'm at. He's not on this physical plane. He's on the plane that's just slightly different from where I am. But for me, that's normal, because for me, I do like, and I found this out about myself later on in life, like about 5 years ago. I am more in tune with vibrations. Like, so when I see things, it's more of a vibrational field.
The way Joel sees things, I see them sometimes that way as well, when they're an environmental manifestation. So basically, like, they exist by the way that they echo off the environment. But I also can see people as if they were still full manifestation, alive, walking around, which for me can be very confusing until they do something really strange, like walk through a solid object, which then becomes, it's like,
it's always funny when we're standing next to each other and shit like that happens, because I'll see that and I'll be like, huh, and she'll be like, oh fuck.
It's like, holy shit, did he just walk through? It's like, oh my God, he just kitty prided through something, right? And my face will get flushed. Now all the hair on the back of my neck will stand up, and my aura will go into full defense mode, and I'll start protecting, and I'll flare up, and it becomes reflex. Like in martial arts, you see somebody attacks you, you automatically you respond with your best block and counter punch, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh geez.
It's always funny.
That was the reason why I was asking. I was wondering if, because you asked me if I wanted to actually have the gift. It's easy to say, yeah, because I would be able to say I would want to see him if he's walking in in the shower on me. But if I'm on the street and by and I want to act like they're not there, how do I handle that if I don't?
like I said, that's
She just got knocked off.
not
She just got knocked off. Hold on. She got to wait for her to come back. Her signal got kicked. He doesn't want her to know. Oh boy, she hasn't finished putting up the defenses yet. Every time something important like this comes up, he starts messing with her signal because he can get to the internet because it's not inside her home. It's on a pole near because she's got a Verizon card that gives her internet. Wait for her to get back.
okay.
So what you're about to tell her is really important.
Yeah, because I've already said it once, and he doesn't want me to reiterate it. I think.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I really do think that's where that training has helped us out, especially for me.
Although I have to say, I do not recommend the way that we learned to anybody.
No.
Because, no.
Oh, what the fuck? No.
I say, if there's fairs and there's metaphysical fairs and there's people who, and I don't mean ones who are going to go, I'll take $20 an hour, $40 an hour to teach it. Go and find the people who are willing to teach you. We're not in this for the glory, because glory, it's overrated.
That's how people get hurt.
Yeah.
So basically how I'm learning then.
Yes. The way that you're learning, you're going to the people who know, you talk to people who've had the experiences, and of course, from whatever learning source you can get. In your case, I'd see if you could find a few metaphysical books on audio, since you're dyslexic. That might help you a lot. I would definitely
say, if you sit, if you meditate, and you put out there that you're looking to learn, and that you're learning from you want to learn from somebody that's going to help you and not harm you, those people be put in your path. The people who are put in your path, and you'll know right away if they're the ones that you're supposed to learn from or learn with. You'll feel it. You'll feel that. They'll be talking to you, and all of a sudden, bam, it'll be like a coincidence. Why is this person talking about this with me? This is strange. I never brought this up to this person, but yet here we are having this conversation about this deep material. People are put in your lives at moments. You just have to realize when.
And she's back.
Realize it.
Sorry. Yep. So now finish telling her what you had to say, because he doesn't want her to hear it.
Okay, so hold on a second, because this dude.
Give me a second. I'm gonna do something so he can't interfere.
I'm gonna do something too.
Because I'm not letting him. Oh, he's running across the street. He's running across the street. He's run.
So, once again, and I'll say this, and for me, and I think this will probably work for you, it's when I got to martial arts, I was not a person who liked to spar. I did not like to spar. But I did learn how to focus my energy inward so I could keep myself calm. So when I was in that moment where we was having when I was sparring, when I had to go into competitions, and I use this for tests too, I've learned to just quiet my mind and just know that everything's going to be okay, that whatever's going to happen is meant to happen. And as I come into that point and I think about that right beforehand and I step out, everything washes away. Those things that happen, like you're going to go outside, you might see something that you might not want to see. Just take a deep breath and just go. And you just kind of reel all your emotions in. And then what it end up happening is you will keep that calm. Just know that you're just going to have to go out and know that you're blessed and know that you're protected. And part of that is going to be however you prepare yourself to know that you're going to be encountering something. So every morning, clear your aura. Every morning, meditate. Every morning, strengthen your aura, crystallize your aura, do that protection, center yourself every morning. Do that. So when
How
things
do we
like
do
that
that?
happen, through meditation, the meditation that you find for that is something that you're gonna have to find on your own. I don't know how you go through. Do you do a meditation for cleansing your aura? Do you meditate on that? Do you sit
No, I haven't done
quietly?
any.
That's the reason why I linked her the chakra thing from the last Airbender. It's a really good idea to daily go through that before you listen to it and do it exactly as it says. Listen to it, let go of all the stuff so that it goes down the river and flows away.
Yeah,
So
because there's going to be a few of them. I suggest that you pick up The Magician. That's a good book. I suggest you pick up some of Kenneth Meadows' book in the Earth Medicine series. I hope you're writing this down. Kenneth Meadows,
Okay.
Earth Medicine series. I would tell you a basic meditation that I do, and I like to do it in the shower. I like to just do it just in general. But I will sit down and I'll take a couple deep breaths. I'll let it go, and then I'll just breathe in light, and I'll go. And this is instead of emanating, or instead of shooting out, Sean, and emanating, that's probably this is how I emanate. So I'll breathe in light, and I'll start to feel like a warm glow, like a golden light filling up my ankles, from my toes to my ankles. So I take a deep breath. I feel it going from my ankles to my calves. Let it go. And as I breathe in the light, I can feel it go to my calves to my knees. And from my knees to my root chakra. Who was that? Was Sean? Did Sean
I'm right
just
here.
get kicked off?
No, I'm right here.
Who just got kicked off?
Pharaoh wife. She just dropped.
Yeah. This dude does not want this to go out. But that's what she's gonna have to,
Yeah, he's going to keep interfering with her. And you drove him back. He was running with his hands over his ears, and then I picked him up and tossed him, and he's able to pull himself right back to the property just with a blink. So
she needs this bowl. She needs a bowl like this, about this size, if not bigger, and she needs to find.
Something came to me. I understand what you're going to say, but something just struck me. She keeps on being dealt. This guy comes to her when she's being bathed in a particular element, especially water, and I just suddenly got the reason why. When some person who follows a particular path, such as mine, bathes himself in an element, it actually washes off all other effects. So any kind of protection she would have on her at the time when she's under the water would be at its lowest ebb until she gets back out from underneath the water, which is why he was going after her there. He's getting worried. She's getting stronger. That's why he's going after her where she'd be dampened. And it suddenly hit me. So we'll talk more about that later, but I need to take us off the air, and then you can continue to tell her, because I'm going to have to drop out. I got to get my son to his teacher. So thank you all for coming. May everything that you hold dear and holy bless you until next time we meet, and have a good afternoon. Okay.